Now you may remember a while ago, I took a look at the masterpiece of a boomer shooter known as Ultrakill. Though it's fine if you don't, I don't think a lot of people have seen it. And in the beginning of the video, I talked about my entire love for the first-person shooter genre and especially boomer shooters. But if you need a refresher... There you go, I'm glad you caught up. Now there's a lot of shooters I've played in my time, but I will say that the ones entirely themed around the 90s will always have a special place in my heart. From games like Ultrakill to other ones like Dread Templar and Wrath Aeon of Ruin. But what if you don't like pixelated 3D models? What if you wanted less than that? Well then the answers may not be with polygons, it may be with pixels. Nothing about that sentence makes sense, which is why Prodeus might be up your alley. Prodeus is another boomer shooter that decides that real 3D is overrated and decided sprites is where it was all at. Released in early access way back in 2020 and saw a full release last year, Prodeus takes a lot more inspiration from games akin to earlier times of first-person shooters like Wolfenstein 3D and Duke Nukem 3D. I know what sex is. You put your... But wait, there's more. Not only is the visual style one of the most standout features of this game, on top of that, the game takes inspiration from mods like Brutal Doom and Brutal Half-Life, where that essentially means that you'll be causing a bloodbank to get jealous, and you have your eardrums burst along with your limbs torn off because of the sheer force and power that goes through these weapons. This game was made by a place called Bounding Box, which means they probably like using Adobe Illustrator, and the publisher is Humble Games. Yeah, this seems extremely humble, and this game is beloved by many gamers. Some would say it's one of their favorite throwback games to this genre of first-person shooters. But me? I don't think so.
Yes. Millennials.
Yes, I played this game. That's how I'm making this video. And I did enjoy what I played, but to me, this is one of the most by-the-books boomer shooters I think I've ever played. It's just way too simple to me. There's a few features that I really didn't like about it, and I blew past this game almost completely on autopilot. But of course, because viewer watch time is a thing that is pretty to a YouTube, I guess I need to explain in a little bit more depth now, should I? Let's take a little bit of a look and see why I simply think that Prodeus is decent at best. So let's start off with the story. Thanks for coming. Yeah, it's a boomer shooter. We don't exactly have a story that's gonna rival Heavy Weather, but my goodness, if you wanted something to grasp onto in terms of a story, you're gonna be lost. So I took the liberty of writing a plot to the game myself. One day, a Doom fan had a wet dream. This is what he saw.
I need therapy.
Yeah, but aside from a few walls of text that explains the lore of the game, you've got better chances of finding lost fathers who went to buy milk. So with that omission, at the very least that means they could focus all their time and effort on the visuals and gameplay, right? And yeah, I'd say they nailed it. The visuals in Prodeus are stunning. This is pretty much what I think a ray-traced version of the build engine would look like, because that's what everybody wanted back in '93, where every environment looks semi-modern with the lighting and the reflections, but your models from both the enemies and the guns are all sprites. And I think all of this looks really cool. Yeah, that's it. Though I praise the style, environments at the very least kinda doesn't interest me. Yes, they look as old as that one block of cheese that was behind your fridge since the Cold War, so for what the game was going for, it nails it. But a lot of the stages blend into each other a little bit too much. Like, oh, do you want Mars or space facility? This is what you'll be seeing for 90% of the game, early on I should stress. It's only a few instances where the game deviates from this palette early on and gives us something that stands out, like this stage where the floor is either made out of mucus or puke. I haven't really figured that out yet, and I don't think I'm gonna get an answer to it either. But I have to say, if the visuals kinda get dull for you, did you know that you can customize the stages? Yes, by shooting enemies with reckless abandon. You could modify the stages to look all red and neon with the pull of the trigger. What do you mean we could use paint? This is more fun! Yes, we can't talk about this game without mentioning the extreme amount of gore that will be erupting out of your unfortunate victims. And how much blood comes gushing out of these guys? Yes, and the cherry on top of all of this is that all this blood coats every single section of the stage, and my goodness, the amount of carnage you can cause in this game is unreal. But yeah, aside from the environments that blend into each other a little bit too much, the visuals are one of the game's strongest features. But once again, it's time to remind you all that I'm a sour orange that made you eat your own lips, because whilst the stages don't look too special, they aren't really anything too special either. And not to say that's bad at all, no, but the primary issue is that they're a little bit 2 by the numbers. You have different platforms in each of the stages, giving you the option to attack the enemies in a vertical position. There are some doors that can only be opened by color-coded key cards. The stages are open with different secret areas to find extra goodies. So much so, every single stage has a map that you can use to get your bearings. But the stages themselves aren't all that hard to figure out where to go aside from a few times in my playthrough, because if you follow the tried and true method of going where the enemies are, you'll get through this a-okay. Like I said at the beginning, I was playing this game mostly on autopilot and just playing normally, along with listening to podcasts, talking in Discord calls, talking to myself, contemplating my place in the universe and what comes after, and yet I was still able to go through each of these stages without any issue. But I do think I know why everything felt so boring, and that was because of the gameplay. Now, before you pull out your guillotines, let me explain first, you little impatient fuck. Along with the visuals, the gameplay in Prodeus is the best feature. So at the very least, they nailed the most important part. You run around bunny hopping, shooting enemies with no care in the world with a shit ton of different weapons, and that's where the most fun comes in. In terms of weapons, we do have the normal boomer shooter standards. We have a pistol, shotgun, machine guns, railgun, rocket launcher, grenade launcher, and a minigun, all with different secondary fires, like with the pistol allowing you to ADS like you're a card player and turn the gun into a burst fire, the shotgun getting more accurate and charging up a powerful shot that can one-shot almost most enemies, the machine guns having the most revolutionary one being shooting the other gun. The minigun spins the barrel. I love video games. The railgun shoots a powerful shot like a sniper that can also be used to one-shot enemies. I should clarify, this is more like a Tesla gun where the primary fire shoots electricity which passes through different enemies, but it felt like I was charging their cell phone, so the primary fire felt useless. The rocket launcher being like you in bed because now you can blow it up earlier before it reaches its point of contact. Fun of you! And the grenade launcher launches sticky grenades, and if I have to explain what that means, then we can be friends. And those are all the weapons that you can find as you go. As you can see, these are all the weapons I had at the end of the game. And those question marks aren't the things that go over your head when you wonder what toy you'll find in a Kinder Egg. Those are still the ones that are missing. But how do you acquire these other weapons? Well, something I didn't mention I should have when I was talking about the stages, I wrote this script after waking up in bed on my phone, don't judge me, is that stages are split up into different parts on the world map. Your character even becomes all chibi and cute. It almost makes Bloodshed look adorable. But also within each stage there are two primary collectibles, runes and ore fragments. Runes are what you'll need to collect in order to unlock different stages, but they're placed in locations that you'll have to go through during the stage, so you'll get them anyway. But ore fragments is this game's currency, because throughout the map there are shops, because clearly capitalism and genocide goes hand in hand, and you use these ore fragments to buy different weapons. The only two I was able to buy were the super shotgun and the plasma gun. But as you could guess, yeah, I'm a few short. Because as you can expect, there are a few more that we can buy, but seeing as I'm playing this like a simpleton, you know, not really exploring the stages and just going through them normally like I would normally do in any other game, yeah, I guess I'll just look at these guns like a child who wants a toy they can't afford. But now I should ask, why do I need to buy these guns? Because paywalls are fun. If you think back at any boomer shooter in its normal history, as well as the copious amounts of throwbacks that came out in recent years, you know that all of them had a good level of progression. And by that I mean not locking weapons away until you buy a battle pass. Take games like the original Doom for example. By the start of the game you just have the pistol, but as you go around the game just normally, you'll eventually have every single weapon by the time the game ends. But this is also another thing that kills me. What the hell are tiers? You need certain tiers to unlock certain weapons, and on top of that, movement abilities. What is this, a Twitch subscription? And nothing to my knowledge exactly tells you what to do to increase this tier. But regardless, this is something I find extremely stupid. You're essentially locking away gameplay mechanics behind a shop system. Doom Eternal, Dread Templar, and fucking Ultrakill had all these things from the start, or if I'm wrong, you can unlock these by just playing the game normally. So by the end of the game, and I mean close to when I finished it, I only unlocked the double jump. Oh, wait, unlocking isn't the right word. I meant to say spend my life savings to get something that should have been an addition to the game from the start. And here's the kicker, it was useless! I felt like I just bought a PS5 off of Wish. So if my constant rambling wasn't indicative enough, I don't really like the shop system. Do I know why it's here? Yes, I do. It encourages that you explore the stages in order to find these ore fragments so that you get the satisfaction of getting the means to unlock these abilities early on. But didn't older games give you the same benefits but actually rewarded you with stuff like the weapons if you went out of your way to look for them? Why did they they need this. Also, why the hell do the shops need to be separate locations on the map? Why can't they just do like, again, Ultrakill, where you can quickly purchase the shit you want before each stage begins? I just feel like this bogs the pacing down way too much. But aside from me moaning, and not in that kind of way, the gunplay itself is serviceable. Every weapon serves its purpose, and it was fun to use. They all sound loud and beefy, which makes every single shot you take feel powerful, and the results they leave behind is immensely satisfying to behold. I just feel bad for whoever needs to clean up. And truth be told, without buying the additional weapons, I think you're more than safe enough with the standard ones you unlock throughout the game. But once again, here's another thing that I actually hate, and that is the fact that you need to reload some of your weapons. Your pistol, your machine guns, the shotgun, the super shotgun, the plasma gun, and so on. All of these guns have a clip that needs to be reloaded just like real guns, because don't you remember when we had firefights against aliens on Mars? It was extremely authentic. But I do need to ask, why did this need to exist? And for almost every single gun too? The only exceptions are the minigun and the rocket launcher. This ruins the entire flow the game could have had. Like, cocking a shotgun and rocket launcher makes sense. A, it's a very satisfying sound to hear, and B, these weapons would shred everything if we took away this one limitation. On the other hand, stuff like the super shotgun needing to reload makes sense because it is literally the more powerful version of a weapon. I bring up other games again, like in Doom, you didn't need to reload anything except for the super shotgun, and the flow of the gunplay was solid. All you needed to do was make sure that there were ammo in the guns to begin with, then you're golden. The only exception to this rule would be Doom 3, but you're not exactly shooting a hole through Mars in that one now, are you? The only one that makes sense aside from the super shotgun is your pistol, but I never really understood why this was a gun that needed to reload in these kinds of shooters. But my goodness, let's just keep the complaints going, shall we? Through each and every single stage, you get something called Nexus points, a sci-fi way to say checkpoints. Now, in other shooters like this, normally checkpoints would either be non-existent because that's everyone's favorite way to play, or would start you off right before a huge fight if you messed up, making you go through that exhilarating battle all over again until you get the satisfaction of finally overcoming that obstacle. In Prodeus, nah fam, you get these things, and I like to call them the save states from emulate. Because once you have activated the Nexus point, it literally sends you back to the location where you activated, and it does just that, meaning that every single enemy you killed is still dead, meaning that you just get to walk through a hall of blood splatters and do nothing else. At least admiring your handiwork is still something. And you're not punished at all. You can die over and over and over again, and you know you'll be fine when you just click return to Nexus point. So we've already got 3 major issues in the game, and it really shines through in the long run to me. Something that was either more well balanced or streamlined in other games feel more like you drove a cement truck into more cement, causing it to get stuck in the cement in this game. It just makes the game feel like it drags. And speaking of dragging, when you reach the end of the map and go through the Hall of Heads, that's where I thought the game was over. But no, you aren't ready to feel relieved yet, because lo and behold, that green circle over there means you've got more stuff to do, sunshine. This is the Prodeus dimension, where I will say the visual style kind of improves a lot more from an aesthetic point of view, and the fact that you get neon blood enemies really makes the locations pop with all the carnage. And this place has a gimmick. Because of course it does, and that is you now have these platforms to stand on which will rejuvenate your ammo. Makes sense, right? All the enemies that you fight here aren't exactly rocking a Glock and an AR like in the normal world, so this makes sense. But do you want to know what I see? I am essentially now standing on an unlimited ammo pool, meaning that when I see my guns are a little bit thirsty, I can get them the nutrients that they need. Wonderful! And after going through this entire dimension, we get into a spaceship. It amazes me how we're almost done with the game, and yet now we're only just getting some interesting scenery. But after we crash the spaceship we're on, we go to another world to explore, and this time it's a nice snowy place, and now there's also new enemies here too. 1 new enemy, and he's only here. These assets needed to be used somewhere, right? Oh, and guess what? We get 1 more gun over here. This gun. That looks like Drogo's from Paladin's Spit Shot, which makes me wonder if I'm shooting volcanic material into the enemies or dragon cum. Oh, and guess what? This weapon is used to melt ice around the stage in order to progress and reveal switches. Yeah, just for the ice stages. Why all of a sudden does a weapon need to be used to progress through the stages by destroying parts of the environment all of a sudden? The best the rest could do were activate panels that moved platforms and shit, but not like this. They're probably not very special. And finally, after the snow world, we go to the obvious. Hell. Because of course, here we ring a bell. Then we go to the final stage where we just have to stand around this arena with spawning enemies till this thing decides it wants to do something, and then the game ends. Why do people love this game? It goes without saying that I do not for the life of me understand where all the praise from this game comes from. Yeah, I will admit, the game itself for the most part is relatively solid. It's just those massive 3 main issues that completely kill the experience for me. I don't care about the environments looking nothing too special aside from a few occasions early on and in late game. I don't really care that the game on PS4 runs as smoothly as rubbing your ass against a rusty pipe. I don't care about the fact that the stupid screen dithering caused my recording for the first part of this entire session to look like ass. But those 3 primary issues I have, the nexus points, the reloading, the shops. Ruins themselves look like they play such a huge part in the progression of the game at the beginning, but at the end I don't even think they were around anymore, just the ore fragments. And the idea of locking away shooter staples like the special weapons and movement abilities behind a proverbial paywall. You'll make money bags from Spyro have a change of heart. And reloading! Why? You look like a rookie who forgot the safety on. So I'm just completely confused as to why people love this game. There is plenty to like here, I will admit. The guns that you don't need to sell your kidneys for work super fine and the gunplay is serviceable. But why would I play something like this aside from playing something like Ultrakill, where you get to reap the benefits of the excellent gameplay from having access to all the weapons as you naturally progress, as well as not having to spend money to do all the fancy movement shit. And do you want to know what's the worst part about all of this? Ultrakill isn't even finished yet. This game may have released in early access in 2020, the same year as Ultrakill, but it fully released in 2022, and it doesn't even have half of what made Ultrakill so special to play and enjoy. At the end of the day, Prodeus is just okay. The core mechanics work extremely well, and you might find something to love about its simplicity, but it's just so bare bones in comparison to others in its field, and aside from the art style, it just doesn't feel anything all that special. And I didn't even really bother to look at the whole stage creator because I'm not an architect, because I'm not gonna make an account just to access this feature, and that goes double for the multiplayer. Why do I need to make a fucking account to access this? Wow, already a second video this year. That's more than one. But yeah, if my rambling wasn't indicative enough, I don't exactly 100% recommend this game. I will admit, it was a 6 out of 10 at best for me. It was okay, I didn't hate it, but here's a little bit of lore. I actually hated this game when I first played it. I absolutely didn't like it because I thought that the performance was horrible, I thought the controls sucked, and it completely turned me off. But at the very least I can say now is that the game is a lot better than when I first tried to play it, and since it's been a while since I've been starting to edit this video and all that stuff, I have went back and yeah, sadly, my opinion hasn't changed all that much. It's fun, I can give it that, but at the end of the day, it's nothing special. If you really want to play something that's really good, play anything like Ultrakill, Wrath Aeon of Ruin, Ion Fury, all those games. I highly recommend those. They are more worth the price, and some of them are even cheaper than Prodeus. The only way how I could comfortably recommend you this game is if you get it on Game Pass, because at the very least, if you don't like it, you at least have Game Pass, you got a shit ton of other things. You can play Hi-Fi Rush at the very least. But yeah, I will also admit a few things that I didn't really mention. I think that the music was really good. It really has a Mick Gordon feel to it, and I really do like that. But again, everything else just doesn't click well with me. But then again, that's what I'm saying. This is still a game that I can recommend to you under specific circumstances. And if you guys want to tell me something that the only reason it sucked is because I was playing that on the PS4, that's even a worse excuse. Why is it that I can play something like Doom 2016 on the PS4 and as well Doom Eternal, and they run and they play a lot better than Prodeus? I'm just convinced PlayStation hates Unity. But either way, that's not an excuse. The version that you have should be equal on each ground. So again, maybe the PC version's better. And I know this isn't a complete full package looked at this game because I didn't do the multiplayer or the stage builder, but why would I make an account? Again, there's a lot to enjoy about Prodeus, and again, you guys might love it more. There is a reason a million other people actually do love this game, and like I said, it could be the simplicity, it could be the art style, it could be the gameplay itself. Like, it really, maybe a lot of people might enjoy those kinds of things. This is completely subjective, but to me, I just don't think I can comfortably recommend this game unless you get it on Game Pass, PC, or unless there's a price drop on it wherever you get it. But that's enough from me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm so sorry that it's been so late. I have been incredibly busy with other things to really sit and focus, but at the very least, we're still good with videos this year. We're 2 videos in, 2 main videos, a shit ton of shorts. Either way, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tell me if you guys liked the game in the comments below. Again, if you guys liked the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. If you guys didn't like it, but in any case, I've been John from the channel with the freakishly long name, and I will see you guys in the next video.